What's going on, guys? Leader class Grimlock. Box is what you expect. Nice Grimlock on the front. Robot mode in the box. Very, very plain looking box. Robot or Dino mode, Robot mode, Prime. Let's open them up. Right out of the box, Grimlock is pretty darn impressive. I've got to give it to Hasbro. They made one heck of a leader class figure, in robot form at least. He's got a lot of posability, and he just overall looks really, really cool. I love the fact that they decided to actually chrome some of the parts on him. Now, the only issue, or the only weird thing I can see in the entirety of the figure, paint scheme-wise, is that his head, or his little head up here, is different gold color from the rest of the body. And there are minor variations in gold coloring, but nothing that's really as outstanding as the difference between the, say, the legs and the head. Not a big deal at all. It's a very nice looking figure, as you can see, and highly posable. Head is on a swivel, however it is not on a ball joint, so it can't look up and down. Arms are part of the transformation, so you have in and out, ratcheting forward and back, ratcheting elbows, and then articulation in the wrists. No real torso articulation to speak of. There is hip articulation in ratchets that are pretty tight, and then ratchets in the knees. And then there is a little bit of swivel movement and forward and back movement in the feet, and then you can pose his toes. You can get some decent poses out of this guy, and the weapons he comes with are, one, the dragon tooth mace here, and then this shield, which makes up a big section in his dino mode. So there's no name for the shield, so I'm just going to call it the Dragon Spike Shield. Sure, that works. He doesn't have any problems holding his mace whatsoever. Both of his hands are modeled nicely, and the weapon is modeled such that it fits in his hand and doesn't fall out. No problems there. So overall, it's a very highly posable robot mode that stays together really well, has posable shoulder mounts, and is just really badass looking. If I can find any fault in the robot mode, it's just I wish there was more paint apps on the head. He's got fantastic coloring in the eyes, no light piping, but that's all you could really see. There is actually some really nice detail in there in the mouth, but you can't see it because it's all black. Nothing a little bit of paint on my part won't fix, but I would have liked to have seen those details highlighted. And the fact that he's lacking a ball joint to look up and down, not a deal killer by any stretch of the imagination, but it would have been nice. Grimlock's transformation is by no means simple. It becomes intuitive once you get used to it, but it's not really all that easy. There are parts that peg in everywhere, which actually I greatly appreciate. The only issue I have with the transformation really is these bits right here. They're just too darn loose, and they're made of soft plastic. I wish they were made of hard plastic. Oh well. To start off with, you have to unpeg his frills from his shoulder pads, and then the shoulder pads will fold down, and then they can fold up and together to form the dino head. And the dino head is really nifty because it collapses in upon itself and then unfolds and then pegs together. So I think that's a really good idea design-wise. Just really nice idea to have a giant dragon head that then you can have kind of a dragon Grimlock. Okay, that's really stupid. So grab the upper part of the chest and just pull straight up. It's kind of tight. Next, we take the hands, turn them so the palms are facing up, and fold out the dino feet. Do that for both sides. Come down to the feet and take the entire foot and rotate it so that the chrome parts are pointing up in front of the figure. Next, take the feet and actually flip them away from the backs of the legs or the outsides of the legs, and then you can open up the legs fully, like so. So, like that, and just pose the inner ribs. I like to put them just straight down. Then fold the feet to the outsides of the body and turn the legs completely around so that the outer part of the dinosaur mode is pointing towards the bottom of the figure, towards the T-Rex head. Now this is where things get a little complicated. Take the legs, flip them around, and then point them down. These nub sections actually peg into the backs of the legs, and getting these lined up, it's a little tricky. Especially with a bit of force, they will snap into place. Though getting them all the way on, not easy. So next, we fold these sections in as much as they'll go, and they will peg into the sections that are flipped out on the hips. You just kind of have to fiddle with it until you get everything lined up, like that. And then these will wrap around the robot legs and form the chest cavity of the Dino mode. Once you bring those sections down, peg them into place, you can then turn the figure around and those silver parts will then peg into place, but they don't stay together too well. And I think that's due to just me not fully getting the transformation complete. I've done this quite a few times, and I've never quite gotten it right. That's just me sucking at transforming the figure. And then I also break off these limbs all the time. So there's that. And then the last bit is going to be for attaching his tail, which is the mace. So split the mace open, and then slide the tail back until it pegs in. And you kind of have to do this with one side going in before. So then this will peg into the body. But then you also have the shield. So fold the spikes up, fold the little tail up, and this will actually peg in on top of the shield, right like that. And this will then peg into those two pegs here by the feet. And the feet, I think that's the one major complaint I have with the Dino mode is the feet placement isn't so great. The T-Rex mode that we end up with is strangely proportioned. I'm not going to lie. There's a bit of weird proportionality going on here. If this was what scientists think a T-Rex is supposed to be like, the legs should be right about here, maybe a whole inch from where they are. But overall, I mean, it's not bad. I really do appreciate the chrome on here on the head. It is very, very cool. The overall look of the dragon that you end up with is nice. You can pose the head a little bit, and you can move the frills around. That is very cool. No side-to-side movement. But you are somewhat limited due to the weird proportionality. And the tail keeps falling off. And that, I think, is just me pushing too hard on the tail. But it does keep falling off. It's by no means a bad dinosaur mode. But I like his Voyager dinosaur mode a lot better. If the amount of, on the leader class, if there was the same amount of chrome on the Voyager class as there is on the leader class, this guy would be a shoo-in. But just based on the Dino mode, I gotta give props to the Voyager figure. I think Hasbro did a good job here. It's not perfect by any means, but they did a nice job. It's a pretty good figure. My only real complaint, other than the proportionality, is if you lose either of these components, the Dino mode is useless. But in all honesty, I'm not going to be posing him in Dino mode all that much. This is going to be a robot mode figure only for me, because I think the robot mode is that strong. I love this guy's robot mode. It just works. It's really nice. It's really good. So, yeah, if you want to get a leader class figure with a really awesome robot mode, this is the one to get. Dino mode, like I said, in all honesty, take it or leave it. But it's not a bad figure. It's actually a pretty good figure that's done well. I'm really happy Hasbro has managed to give us a really, actually good Grimlock figure. Now, a lot of folks don't like my opinions about Leader Class Sentinel Prime. I did not like that figure. I like this figure. Please do not think that I don't like this figure. I actually like it a lot, just in the robot mode. Once you figure out the transformation, it's not too bad. It is still pretty darn complex, though, but it's not too bad. Just getting certain things lined up is a bit of a pain in the tuchus. Not a huge deal, though. Like I said, personally, what would I recommend? This or the Voyager class figure? That really all depends on what you want. If you want a really good dino mode, I'd go with the Voyager class figure, or maybe they're going to eventually release a deluxe. That might be good too. But if you want a really good robot mode, the Voyager is strong, but I really like this leader class figure. One final comparison before we go. As you can see, there is a significant difference between the leader class and the Voyager class. In all honesty, I like them both. I think they both have strengths and weaknesses. If you're a collector, like myself, you might want to go for the bigger leader class figure. But for kids, I'm going to have to recommend the Voyager. It's not that I don't trust kids, but I think they might have more fun with the Voyager over the leader. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video review of Transformers Age of Extinction Leader Class Grimlock. As always, I've been baltmatrix, and I'll catch you next time.